First of all, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for coming out. Don't need to be louder in the back. I'll just talk really loud then. I just want to say, first of all, thank you guys for coming out here tonight. It really means a lot to me to have such a good crowd here. Also want to give a big thanks to Jake Vogel. I don't think Jake is tucked back there somewhere, but Jake was nice enough to let us use the space here this evening and hang out here at Scramble Jake's. I really want to have the event here for a couple reasons. One, it's fairly central within the district, and two, this is actually where I grew up. The house I was born in and grew up in is a walking distance from here. Where I started working out is right across the street. I remember as a kid I used to go to Sullivan's and eat on the patio to celebrate the end of the school year. And my first job is actually over here at Butler and Bailey, eating bagging groceries. So for any of you guys that have lived in the area, there's a pretty high likelihood I used to ask you paper or plastic. So I didn't know at the time that me moving up the line from B&E coming on the other side of the North Shore, but here we are. But I don't want to take too much of your time tonight. Like I said, everybody's probably got to get home to their family and get back to dinner. But I just want to talk a couple minutes and really just talk about one question. And the question is why? When I tell people I'm running for county commission, I get asked probably 99% of the time, why are you running? And it's a very, very fair question, especially as a 29-year-old guy. It's a little atypical to be running for public office, but I just want to take a little bit of time and kind of expand upon that, because I think a lot of you in this room are probably asking that very question, but there's a little bit of a deeper story, to my why and to why I'm standing up here before you today. A lot of people look at me and think that I was an athlete or I played football, which is unfortunately far from the truth. When I tried playing football, I broke my hand and quickly gave up that aspiration. But I was kind of a big nerd back in high school. And I remember this whole idea of public service really came to me when I was probably 15 years old. I have a fairly distinct memory. I was into my freshman year of high school, and I was sitting in a room for Key Club, which was a community service and leadership organization. And the club president was sitting there talking, saying, hey, here's the projects we're going to pursue next year. We're looking for people to take leadership roles. And I don't know what it was about that exact moment, but something clicked for me and said, one, that makes a lot of sense, that to give back and help others, and two, to build yourself as a leader in that process. And moving on from there, as I went on in my journey, I went from this shy, awkward, lanky 15-year-old who was afraid to get up, who was afraid to speak. And if you fast forward a few years after that, I ended up becoming state president of that organization. I was chair of a National Service Learning Grant Board. I was valedictorian at West High School when I graduated. I graduated summa cum laude from UT. I was the youngest sales professional in 3 different companies that I worked for. I don't mean to sit here and say that to brag and say, oh, me, because all that stuff's in the past. The reason I bring that stuff up is because what was it that led me to do those things, and what are the underlying motivating factors? And when you break those things down, it was the things that people don't see. When I was trying to become a leader, trying to become a good public speaker, you don't see the dozens of times that I fell flat on my face and was nervous and did horribly in front of people. You don't see the hours and hours I spent studying to make sure I was prepared every single time I took a test. You don't see sometimes the elections that I lost, the times that I failed. But all those things lead back to this one quality that I really think is, when I boil down to what I think my strongest attribute is this idea of persistence. No matter what it is I've ever done, I've either been all in or all out. If I'm going to do something, I want to give it 100% of my effort and be the absolute best I can be. Otherwise, I don't think it's worth pursuing. And when it comes to leadership, when it comes to this role, it's really the fundamental aspect that I apply. Leaving, some of my younger years and coming into now, that mindset's something that's persisted with me all the way to now. And how we got from there to, okay, we're running for county commission. There's been a little bit of runway since then, but what it really boils down to for me, and the reason I'm standing up here today, is because This is my home. This is our home. This is our community. And I sincerely believe one thing, that's who governs locally really does matter. It's not because I want to be a politician that I'm standing up here, and honestly, that's so far from the truth. And I think that word gets so often misconstrued, because this isn't about politics, this is about public service. And that is the reason I always did what I did when I was younger. It's still the reason I continue to stand here before you today, because I think it matters to work hard to make the home and community that we have here, which is a special, special place, good for the people that live here now, and also good for the people that come here after us. And I spent most of my life living here, in high school and college, and I actually left for a few years. At that point in time, I could have gone anywhere. I found myself back in Knoxville. And in fact, sometimes I can joke myself, I kind of came way too full circle. Because I live 5 minutes from my parents' house now, but I do that because I love this place. I sincerely love Knoxville, love Knox County, and want to see it be the best it could possibly be. And I think it's easy when you hear a lot of candidates speak to say, oh, there's a problem with this, there's a problem with that, this needs to be fixed. I always say this first, I think we generally live in a really great place that we're fortunate to live in, and I think it's generally well run. I know a lot of the officials that serve now, have served, and we're fortunate to have that. But the thing is, the Knoxville that I grew up in, the Knoxville that a lot of you guys have grown up in and lived in, is not the Knoxville that we see today, and not the Knoxville that we're going to see in years to come. We've had more people move here in the last few years than we've ever seen before. What's come with that is greater demands on our infrastructure, greater demands on our school, on our public servants, on law enforcement, on our educational system. Meanwhile, when you peel back the layers of the onion a little bit, what you see is we're probably paving 50 to 50% of the roads we need to. We have some schools that are vastly underattended and some that are vastly overattended. We have schools falling into obsolescence. We have our sheriff's deputies and our teachers asking and wanting competitive wages. You look at North Shore and Kingston Pike, you see more traffic and congestion than you ever have before. And while these aren't necessarily huge red flags right now, the one word that comes to me when I think about, hey, why am I running? Where do we go forward from here as a community, as a commission, and as a county, is we need to be proactive. If you fast forward 5, 10, 15 years from now, a time point when I'll be done in this role, where are we then? Did we set ourselves up to be successful to meet the demands that are staring us straight in the face right now, and making sure that our county is successful in addressing those? So not that we're just being reactive and getting by, but that we're an example community and an example county for others to look to. Arnold Schwarzenegger has a quote that I heard a few years ago that's really stuck with me, and it's that no one's ever really a self-made man. And I would say that so much myself. As much as I like to say I've accomplished a lot of my own, I could have not have done any of what I've accomplished in my life without the help of others. People that have mentored me, coached me, helped me, be a friend. And I think that really is a myth, this whole idea, because we can't do it alone. We have to do it together. And as I look toward this next year and pursuing this race to be a county commissioner and serve you all, I can't do it alone. So many of these people that I look across the room and I can almost see every one of you has helped me in some way, shape, form, or capacity. And I need that moving forward. I need help with getting the word out, help with votes, help with contributions, help with spreading this message. And even when I am elected, you look at this community in general, you need people not just serving as public officials, that's a small piece of this community. You need people that are volunteering in their children's classrooms, coaching Little League, being a mentor, being a teacher, running a small business. All these things are what make our community special. At the end of the day, and sometimes it's not the sexiest answer, the reason I'm standing up here is I truly have felt called to do this since I was probably 16 or 17 years old. It's an idea that's never escaped me. I have always come back to. And this community and the people in it have given me so much. And I just would love the opportunity to give that back. And listen, I'm not a perfect candidate. I'm not a perfect person. But if you're looking for someone that is willing to work hard when no one's looking at them, I will be that guy. If you're looking for someone that's willing to stand up and do the right thing, even when sometimes it's not the most popular opinion or it's difficult to do, I'll be that guy. If you're looking for someone that's going to work hard to be better themselves and better this community every day while I have the opportunity to serve, I will be that guy. Like I said, I really want to say thank you again for taking the time to come out here this evening. I can't say how much it means to me to have all these faces in this room. Thank you so much. And listen, I just ask that, okay, help me in this goal to not just make Knoxville better, but let's make this the best damn county in the state of Tennessee. Thank you very much. And I have an immense amount of food over here, so if anybody's hungry, please eat, because I have much to have a good appetite. I can eat all this myself. So.